Hello, and welcome to Stitch This Season, Prompt 7 in our online workshop where we create a fabric book. Today's prompt, Prompt 7, is a little different. Again, we're doing a 2-page layout this time, and this is using pockets. So we're going to work on the outside of the pockets and the inside of the pockets and filler for the pockets. So it's a 3-part video. I've tried to whittle it down to only the important parts so I can show you all the steps. Now there is a sister video that accompanies this in case you want to make the fabric gingerbread stamp, the painted one that I show in the video. It's a quick little video that shows you how you can do this and modify it for your needs. I also make a fabric swatch using fabric from the book. So I think that's very fun too. It's something repetitive, it complements the book, and there's continuity in it. I'll show you how I do that as well. So let's get started.
So this prompt for both pages here for the pockets are kind of interesting. We're to do this in 3 parts. So right now we have our page, which is stitched down just in the center. We have our first page completed. So we're just going to work on these 2 and these pockets. So when you stitch, just be careful not to stitch through all the pages. First thing we want to do is create something interesting. We're going to do greenery. Now you can do it on either side. You can do it on the pocket or on the background. I like to do it on the background. So I'm just going to do some embroidery stitches, simple straight stitches and a split stitch. So to do that, I just create like a little branch. And to make it a little more organic, I'm going to have a couple of branches come off that branch, like this. So the first thing I want to do is create my branch, and then I'll add pine needles to it. So I'm just going to start with some brown embroidery floss, and I'll start with that split stitch. So I'll be sure to only get 1 layer of fabric. I start at the end here, and the split stitch is just a variation on the straight stitch. I'm going to create a stitch, go all the way down, pull it snug but not too tight, and then I'm going to come up and split the stitch. And you can split it halfway through, you can go 3/4 of the way through. And then I'm going to make another stitch just slightly past where I started my first stitch. And I'll continue this. Now if you want to make a smooth curve, you'll make those stitches very small, splitting your stitches. Now I'm going to continue out here to the furthest point. Just like this. I'll continue this all the way. And then when I have my first branch finished, I'll just double back and just continue that for the remaining branches. And so there I have my branches. I'm going to knot off my thread on the back here, and then I'll start with the pine needles. Now to make the pine needles realistic, I have 3 different colors of green. You could use more, you can even use less, but I think having at least 2 contrasting colors is important. So I have a brighter green, a silvery green, and then this gray green, and there is significant difference between the 3. I'm going to start with my bright green. So I'll move my threads here. And I want all my pine needles to come out in the same direction, radiating from these branches. So for example, I'd want them to come here, all the way around, just radiating out from the branches. Like that. It can be even a little messy. What I want to make sure is that the needles overlap and they do interesting things. They're more or less the same length, but not exactly. So here I'll just make 1 stitch, just a straight stitch. And because I'm going to add the other 2 colors, I can jump around where I want to add more of these bright green stitches. Always having it come from the brown stem. So my first layer is done. It's pretty sparse. It's still indicative of a branch, but now I'm going to start with a different color here. I'm going to go in with that gray color, kind of my darkest color. And again, I'll start the same way. I want to start right from that branch and radiate out. I'm not spacing them evenly because that's the beauty of it. It looks a little more organic that way. And so there I have some more needles on that branch. I'm going to go in with my last color here, this silvery green, and add just a few more besides. And so there I have my little pine branch. So do some greenery on yours. Be sure to snap a photo and upload it to our Facebook group. So now the next part, so you can work on the background, we're going to work now on the pocket. We're going to make a little collage using the fabrics and lace that we have. I'm also going to use this Merry and Joyful. I think I'll put it on this side. And I'll just play around. I have this beautiful red fabric, maybe a little lace. And then I think I want to add a little bit of green. Yeah, I kind of like that. So I'll attach this down, cut these up a little further, and then I'll have something of interest on the actual pockets. All right, so I've stitched my little collage here. I added a few little stitches just to tie it together, and I'm really pleased with the way this is coming along. Now just a reminder, when we attach the pockets, we'll give them a little give. So we'll trim off some of this edging. But now let's work on filling the pockets. We're going to do two different fillers. I'll show you my technique and then you can modify it for your own. The first one is I have a separate video showing these painted gingerbread images. And so this is going to be what I'm going to fill it with. But I don't want to just tuck in some fabric. I want to stitch around it, put a batting first, and then a backing of complementary fabric. And I'll stitch around that. So I'll just trim that down and stitch. And that will be one pocket. Now the second one is a little different. We're going to create a swatch. So I'll just set this aside. I have a piece of neutral fabric. You can use any fabric you want, and a piece of batting underneath it. I'm also going to use a piece of fabric for the backing. And I'm just choosing this fabric that matches my book. Now I want to make some swatches of different fabrics or ribbons that I've used. So here I have some from my book that I've used. And now I'm just going to cut little pieces and I'll stitch them down here to this top piece. I'm going to use pinking shears. That's completely optional. But I just want to play around with some swatches to make it look like just a little swatch card. You can make it look like a swatch of paint. Anything that goes, really. I have all different ones here. So I'll play around the fabric and come up with a design to show you. So I have my swatch sample here. I have 3 fabrics and 3 fabrics. And they'll move. I'm just going to stitch them down on the side here. So I just stitched it down. And as you can see, it moves here. And now I want to add this rickrack just along that seam, as well as the hardware. So I'll stitch those down, and then I can add the backing. So here I have my finished swatch sample. I have my backing stitched around the perimeter. I have all my little fabric swatches and the little hardware. It looks very festive, and it's just a little snapshot of the fabrics used in my book. I finished this piece in the same way that I'm going to finish the postage stamp for the other pocket. So I have the postage stamp, the batting, and my backing fabric. And now I just want to measure it approximately the same size. And then I just sandwich it in with the batting. You could add embellishments if you want to add some beads, if you want to add a little text or a label. And now I'm just going to sew just a nice border around there. All right, so I stitched around, have a cute little postage stamp, my little swatches, and now I have my page and I can just tuck them in however I want them to go, whichever side, and I can play around with it. Because I left the pocket open, I have a little give. So we won't stitch the pockets closed just yet. You can go ahead and do that if you want, but I'll show you in a future video how I do it. And the next time I see you, we'll work on this prompt, our final page from the pages. We still have a few more prompts, but the final page prompt.
So the prompt for today's layout was greenery, but I also showed the postage stamp as well as a fabric swatch booklet. I think those are all little touches that add a lot of interest to the book. We're heading to the end of this workshop. Oh, it's looking great. Can't wait to see your work on our Facebook group, so please be sure to post a picture. And thank you for joining me today.